Thursday night, Boris Mironov celebrated as he picked up his first goal in a Hawks sweater. Meanwhile, Sullivan lit the lamp and had 2 helpers as the Hawks blew out the Flames 5-2. Tonight, the Hawks travel a country mile to tangle with the sliding Predators. Next.
The Chicago Blackhawks have been on a pretty decent roll of late. They have only been defeated 3 times in their last 10 games. Tonight they try to close the gap between themselves and another Western Conference competitor, the Nashville Predators.
With a drop of the puck after this.
Entertainment Center, they've been excited about what they've been seeing from their newfound heroes here in Nashville. The Predators have been playing pretty well, and they'll lock horns with the Blackhawks, who have also had their best run of the season over the past couple of weeks. Let's see how this one turns out. Here's the draw. They're into the Nashville line. Verahowski flipped it ahead, taken by Sylvain Cote to Alex Jamnov. Dropping it back into his own end. Now Amati was checked, forced to turn back into Chicago territory with it. Now here comes McCabe. Able to clear it to center. Gilmore tipped it in. Mike Dunham rolled it over to the far side. Yachmanev couldn't get it out. Here's Cote, a long shot. That bounced wide of the target. Rebound came to the near side. McCabe holding it in there. Now it's jammed loose along the boards. McCabe again held it into Amani. His shot is blocked right to Jamnov. Shooting Dunham. Good stand-up save. And a wonderful chance for Jamnov on the game's first shift. Here the Predators looking to move back, but a rush broken up neatly by McCabe at the Hawk line.
Good start for the Blackhawks. Good puck possession. I think that'll be a key tonight, is controlling the play, controlling the puck, keeping possession of it. Don't let Nashville get in for check.
Here's Cliff Ronning in the Hawk zone. Put it into the far corner. Legwand is checked. Shellberg center, but nobody home for Nashville. Out comes Nylander. Michael Nylander has McCammon busting on the right side. Got it to him, but a good poke check in the Nashville zone by veteran Bill Holder. Stopped what looked to be a good-looking Hawk rush. Holder, a nice play for the Preds. Here they come now over the line. Legwand cutting in the front. He shot one just wide as he had Tebow sliding past the far post. He tried to fire it toward the near side of the net, but missed the target. And here's an icing call coming up against the Predators.
Should have a good matchup tonight, Pat, with the goaltenders. Jocelyn Tebow again getting the nod. He's starting to creep up, not quite close to the 500 mark, but he does have 7 wins and 13 losses. His goals against average is dropping down now to 2.88. And I know for him, his save percentage, he likes it just above 90, and that's where it's at. He'll face Mike Dunham, who has just gotten over the flu around the Christmas holidays. He's got 10 wins, 13 losses, and 4 ties. Goals against similar to Tebow, 2.81, and a save percentage at 91. Both these goalies are young and very, very good. I like Mike Dunham. He played very well for a couple of years in New Jersey, but he was behind Martin Brodeur. Had a little trouble here last year with injuries, but he is the #1 horse definitely here in Nashville.
But when you talked earlier about the fine goaltending that the Predators had during their 8-game unbeaten streak, a big part of that was Thomas Vokoun, and now their coach Barry Trotz is talking about the need to find them both an opportunity to get some playing time. Here they come over the line, centering pass. Walker, a shot, little save by Tebow as Walker had a point-blank backhand chance. Now Walker looking for Bordelot and hopped away from him, then he got it back. Sebastian Bordelot is checked by Olczyk in the far corner. And they lock up along the boards, and it squirts loose to Smolik. He looks for Probert. And then Smolik following up the play, able to bang one into the Nashville zone.
This Bordelot line, Pat, is a very effective line. They were together a lot last year, and they checked a lot of the top lines on the opposition, but also they contributed in the offense, and they've just been put back together 3 games ago. Of course, Sebastian Bordelot had a rough year last year with injuries.
Daze trying to split the defense, couldn't quite get rid of a shot. Bugner did well to tie him up, and it looked as if Bugner was beaten momentarily. Now here's Daze, side of the net. Had his stick grab, put it in behind. Now here's a wraparound and a save by Dunham on Dumont. Rebound to the far side, and the Preds fail to clear. Dumont center all alone. Daze shoots. He scores! Eric Daze lost all alone, but the play made by J.P. Dumont, who broke up an exiting pass in the Predator end, and Daze had time to pull it to the backhand and convert for a 1-0 lead.
This goal is absolute hard work. First of all, Joseph Marha, the centerman, has been given a chance to resurrect his game again this year. He's off to a slow start, but he's been put between J.P. Dumont and Eric Daze. Good hard work by Dumont, first of all, to get a shot off, and Mara has to battle to try to beat Bob Bugner to the puck. He keeps the puck alive, and Dumont helps him out, gets a backhand pass directly to the front of the net, and for some reason, Eric Daze is parked there with nobody around him. Not a white jersey, within 15 feet. Daze is all the time in the world, takes it to the backhand and puts it between and underneath. Mike, that a beautiful goal, good hard work.
Dumont and Marha get assists on Daze's 13th of the year at 3:01. Here's the draw now, cleared into the Predator zone. Daze's checked, and it's finally corralled by the home team. The Predators are able to clear it to center ice. Patrick Kjellberg dropping it to the near side. Timonen. He was short of center when he flipped it in. This one's going to be icing against Nashville.
That is the perfect start you would like to see for the Blackhawks, especially on the road, getting the early lead and working very hard at it. Joseph Mara, as I mentioned, getting a chance now to play in the middle between Dumont and Daze. Last year, at the end of the year, the last 22 to 23 games, they were instrumental in the success, but it didn't start that way this year, and Joseph Mara was relegated to the fourth line, wasn't seeing a lot of ice. J.P. Dumont had a slow start. He was sent to Cleveland, and Eric Daze, everyone's expecting big things from him. They have done so for 4 years now. So this line really is getting a second chance, a second look, and it's a line that has to contribute. I think when you looked at the Blackhawks at the start of this year, you felt this line, as a third line, would have a chance to score every night. They would be the difference a lot of times. That hasn't happened so far, and maybe now it will change.
Now the draw is taken by Mironov. Gave it to Allison, dumping it in. Amati chases in behind the Nashville goal. He's checked. Still battles it loose, though. Amati, nice work to get it to Gilmore, and then Barahowski able to take it away from him. And the Predators try the near side. Here's Krasov. Clearing to center ice, a feed for Johnson to the line. Stripped away beautifully by Amati. He chipped it to center. Here comes Jamnov, one man to beat. Jamnov peels off, waits for a little help. Where's the trailer? Here's a centering pass, and it just was behind Amati. Actually, the pass sort of between Amati and Allison was moving up into the play. And now the Predators up and back into the Hawk zone. Johnson got to it to save icing in the corner, but he's checked, and Amati's dangerous pass is captured by Allison. Jumps one into the Nashville zone, but they say he was short of center, and icing is whistled.
Another good sign and indication of the game so far. The Blackhawks moving up their defenseman, and Barry Trotz, his club, boy, did they have a great streak going. 8 games without a loss. They only allowed 12 goals during that span without a loss during the 8 games. They had 23 goals for, and they only scored more than 3 goals during that span once. So how's that for defense? You have to know they're getting good goaltending. You have to know that they've been solid all the way through their lineup. And you mentioned Thomas Vokoun. Interesting story about Vokoun, who is really the backup. He was in Milwaukee. He was only coming home for Christmas to see his wife, and it ended up Mike Dunham had the flu at Christmas time, and he couldn't play in the game on Boxing Day on December 26th. And Thomas Vokoun got the nod, and he had the great run of 4 straight consecutive games, and also Player of the Week.
Now the draw, Joel Bouchard along, clip backhander is kicked aside by Thibault. Rebound in behind the Bordelot. The wraparound. Thibault was in the far post to stone him, and the Hawks look to counter. Here's Sullivan, who was poke-checked at the Nashville line. And the Predators clear to center. Doug Smolik is there, hammering it back into the Nashville end. Back to the goal, Bouchard. Put it to the far side. Nice touch pass to Bordelot. They got a 2-on-1 if they hurry. And Bordelot's rink-wide pass. What a read by Manson. He saw it coming and broke up a 2-on-1 all the way out at center ice.
That's a great play, Dave Manson. He's been teamed up with Doug Smolik, and both those guys are plus players. They've really played solid hockey the last month. That has been a big difference in the success of the Blackhawks.
Here's Olczyk to the far corner, trying to center. That hit a skate in behind to Probert. Probert grabbed and spun into the near corner. Now Probert works in behind the Predator goal. Timonen able to get in his way there. And Vandenbush in after it. Vandenbush unable to corral it. The Predators come away. And it's dumped into the Chicago zone. Taken by McCabe, rolling it up the boards. Legwand held it in. And it's taken by Sylvain Cote. His pass picked off. Into the deep slot it goes. Big check Deflecting the puck loose, but Timonen held it in the Hawk zone. In front to running a drive. He just missed the near post. Rebound to the far side. Probert got to it. He'll get to center and get it in as the Hawks are in need of a change.
The one guy you don't want to see have the puck when there's loose change around in your own zone is Cliff Ronning. He is so swift. He's been hot lately, 7 points in his last 6 games, and definitely a guy that likes to shoot the puck when he gets a chance. He has a rocket, but he's so small and slight, he's able to peer through little seams and get good opportunities to shoot.
Bordelot trying to walk in. Allison played the body nicely, took him off the puck, and Mironov able to send it to center ice for Marha. Trying to feed Daze, just jumped away from him. Deep into the Predator zone. Daze threw it in front. Here's Allison, a shot. That's blocked, and the race is on the other way. Bordelot waiting for a little help to develop. He gets the line, and then a weak flip shot handled easily by Thibault. Rebound to the press. Bouchard to the backhand. He flipped it, and a blocker save made by Thibault. Rebound to the far board. Predators hold it in. Here's Bouchard, a long drive, and a save by Thibault. Rebound, and puck is loose. Thibault didn't know where it was. It was underneath his left pad, I believe. And he never was sure where it was, but fortunately for the Hawks, the official lost sight of it. And now the Predators are going to get a power play. It's 1-0 Chicago. This is Blackhawk hockey. First power play of the game to Nashville. A Boris Mironov cross-checking penalty. At the 3:41 mark, the reason for that, here's the draw in the Chicago zone. Ronning jammed it back to the line. Here's Timonen at the near point. Put it up the boards, then Legwand takes a look from the near side. 19-year-old David Legwand. Jammed it loose. Here's Shelberg trying to send it. Broken up. Nice steal made by Sullivan. He feeds McCammon, one man to beat. McCammon will fire a long one. And Dunham an easy blocker save.
Not only was that a good intercept of the pass, but a nice little play with pulling the puck in to get it away from Randy Robitaille, who was dodging down from the left point.
Predators dump it in. Smolik chipped it up off the glass, and it winds up in the crowd.
There was quite a display in front of Jocelyn Thibault when Boris Mironov took the penalty. The puck was actually loose and underneath one of the pads. It was bouncing around, but the referee on the opposite side of the goaltender didn't see it and blew it down early, so a bit of a break for the Blackhawks. Blackhawks specialty teams on the road are both in the top 10. Penalty killing 10th, power play top 10. And their penalty killing, I think, on the road has been very good. They've been aggressive, they've been strong on the boards, and that's where they win the battles. When they win the battles, they're able to get the puck down and relax a little.
Here's the draw. Timonen unable to hold it in. It squirts past him into the Nashville zone. The Predators have scored 2 power play goals in their last 3 games. Here's a long shot. Thibault, the save, gave a rebound, but McCabe right there alertly, and he sends it back the other way.
Not sure if Thibault saw that shot. It handcuffed him, got him in the glove. It wasn't a hard wrist shot, but it was right to the middle of the body, and luckily everyone was there in front to clear it.
A minute to go in the Predator power play. Hawks own a 1-0 lead. Here comes Nashville. Berehowski got over the line, went down on the near side, taken away by McCabe, who clears it.
Aggressive penalty killing is a forte as of late for the Blackhawks. Even though they've had 9 power play goals, or pardon me, the last 9 games out of 11, they've had power play goals against. It has been a weak spot at times at home more than on the road. But they've definitely tried to have a concerted effort at back checking all the way down low and forcing the issue.
It's into the Hawk zone, but Daze comes up with it after Smolik jammed it out of the corner, and the Hawks clear. And this is a very strong penalty killing effort by the visitors in the first chance for the Nashville team on the power play. As it's dumped into the Hawk zone, nobody near it for Nashville, and Smolik then failed to get it out. Johnson held it in, centered one. Cleared to the slot, and then a tip shot deflected just wide. Meanwhile, the Hawk penalty over, and both teams are at full strength. Now, in the neutral zone, McCammon had it knocked off his stick, and ex-Blackhawk Greg Johnson dropped it deep in his own end to Carlos Scrastons. He's appearing in just his 22nd NHL game tonight. It's cleared back into Chicago territory, taken by McCabe, who fires it off that glass. It was knocked down with a high stick, and that should and will bring on a whistle if the Predators touch it next. And that doesn't happen, so the play is kept alive. Nice alertness from Bordelot to keep his team in the offensive zone. Back of the net it goes to Walker. Walker jammed to loose. Here's a shot. Hit somebody in front of the net. Rebound to Walker in the far corner. To Bordelot, side of the net. In behind Fitzgerald, who tried to center. That deflects. And came loose in front. Fitzgerald, a shot. Tebow the same, reaching. It went to the line, not in. Tebow was reaching to his right. His left leg was right on top of the goal line. That's where the puck wound up. And he made an almost inadvertent save to keep the Hawks in front. We're halfway through the first. It's 1-0 Chicago. This is Blackhawk hockey.
Welcome back to Nashville. The score of the Blackhawks 1, the Predators 0, and a couple of quick whistles have been in favor of the Blackhawks. A play that went to the net from Fitzgerald's stick, and a loose puck. Tebow thinks he has it underneath him. Scott Walker comes in and directly hits it with his skate, and it almost goes in. Tebow thought it was underneath him, Pat. His left leg went up against the post, and luckily for Tebow, he had his leg on the outside of the net, not in and behind the goal line. So a good save, but a lucky one.
Predators over the line along. Great shot. Good left pad save that time by Tebow. And he gives no rebound, covering up.
Justin Tebow has been very, very good lately. In fact, his last 10 games, he's won 5 and only lost 4. Save percentage at 92. And the one thing I think he's been good at is reading what is happening in front of him. The shot, if it's high or low, he's been able to judge it a little bit better. He's seeing the puck well. He's up to the top of his crease, and his leg movement is very quick. And this is a left pad save that he is able to control. Not easy to control a puck when it's a shot that is down low with some velocity, but he gets the left pad quickly out and cups it properly and is able to hold on to it. Of course, the great Vladislav Tretiak back in town to help out, but I'll tell you the good sign about Justin Tebow is he started to play well without Vladdy in town, so this little streak that he is on, he definitely turned his game around and has a lot of confidence.
Tretiak had a huge smile on his face when I saw him today. He's glad his star pupil is acquitting himself so beautifully here in the last couple of weeks, and what a difference it's made to this Chicago team. Now the Predators are going to get a penalty as Marha gets to center, but his pass will be stolen, and we'll bring on the whistle. By the way, I failed to mention we have two referees working this game tonight. They are Blaine Angus and Mark Fawcett. The linesmen are Jean Morin and Dan O'Rourke.
Dave Manson may have got clipped around the forehead. He was in some pain, and Mark Fawcett went over to see Dave Manson to see if he was cut. His helmet's back on the top of his head, maybe grazed a little bit around the forehead area, but I don't believe cut, and I'm sure it will not be a 4-minute. Although there's a discussion going on, it may be a 4-minute call. Manson in the corner, and a stick. Looks like maybe Tiemanen's stick comes up, clips Manson around the forehead area. It is only going to be a minor penalty. I don't know why all the discussion. Maybe the Blackhawks now are having their point of view on the case, and it's around the beak area. Oh, how noses get in the way of sticks. It's just unbelievable. And a little, definitely Dave Manson is clipped. There is a cut around the bridge of the nose, and it is bleeding, but only a 2-minute minor. And I can see why the Blackhawks are wondering why it's only a 2-minute minor.
Usually that's going to draw a double minor indeed when a guy is cut, even a tiny little cut such as that one is, but blood drawn, that almost unanimously will wind up being a 4-minute penalty, but they only give 2 minutes here. Here's a centering pass to Nylander, who was checked just as the puck arrived, and his shot went wide as a result. Now on the near side, here's Steve Sullivan for Chicago. Sullivan takes a look from the boards, tees it up, then decides to hang on, put it to Nylander, side of the net, back to Sullivan at the dot, put it to the deep side. Here's Demnoff, a shot into the glove of Dunham.
Pretty good puck movement by the Blackhawks. Maybe a little bit slower than you'd like to see, but they're able to control it and get it to the point where they can shoot it. They lacked a little crowd in front of Mike Dunham. Mike Dunham sees Alex Jamnov's shot the whole way. Michael Nylander down low, along with Steve Sullivan on the right-hand shot, back to Jamnov at the point. Good movement, and the shot is there, but there isn't any traffic in front of Dunham. He makes a pretty good glove save. But the Blackhawks' first unit does not have Tony Amani on it now. They've got a couple of off-handed shots to make the power play better, so they're able to move it quicker and get into better scoring chances. And it was pretty effective against Calgary. Good puck movement.
Now on the near board, Sullivan once again. We'll leave it there for Gilmore. Now Gilmore to the dot side of the net for Sullivan. Takes a look, center one, Mironov sneaking in. He shoots, he scores! What a shot! Boris Mironov had to get a puck to settle down, was very deep in the far circle before he could shoot it, and he roofed it up over the glove of Dunham. A magnificent shot, the same type of play the Hawks scored on in their last game, and it's 2-0.
Carbon copy, so if it ain't broke, don't fix it. With a great play by Boris Mironov. This is exactly what the Blackhawks have been working on. That's the reason why they've changed their power play up, to get guys in a position that are facing the middle of the ice. And Sullivan makes a beautiful pass all the way across through traffic to Boris Mironov, who slides down the right-hand side. He has an empty net, but he didn't have a lot of room because Mike Dunham is quick to react, to get over, but he doesn't square up against the shot, and he leaves his post. And quite a shot by Boris Mironov to go top shelf just under the bar. But an excellent puck movement, Pat. I was just talking about it. They're putting themselves in a position. They're not holding onto it long, and they're finding the holes and moving to the holes.
Here's McCabe off the draw, dumping it into the Nashville zone. That Mironov goal is second of the year from Sullivan and Gilmore at 11:37. They've announced Nylander, but it was Gilmore that gave the puck to Sullivan, so that should be changed. The goal happening at 11:37 on the Chicago power play. As they wrestle for it deep in the Nashville end of the ice. J.P. Dumont trying to dig it out of the corner. Then Marha did. Marha looks for help from Dumont, trying to squeeze through a check, could not. But McCabe held it in. To Marha in the corner, he centered. That pass deflects to Running. And he failed to clear it. Good play, Cote, to keep it in. To the corner it goes. Now Dumont centered. Marha in too tight, couldn't shoot it. Marha spins to the far board. Drew it in deep, looking for Dumont. He got to it in behind the net. Now center one, Daze. The pass never reached him. And the puck is cleared to center ice, where McCabe made a nice stand-up play on Running and thwarted that rush.
Boy, solid confidence all over the ice, especially offensively. The Hawks moving the puck, taking their time, moving around, getting into position. Strong defensive hockey also.
Riva Krasov deep into the Chicago zone. Looking to center. Nobody near the front of the net for Nashville. Thibault smothers it easily.
After that great rush through the neutral zone, and the Hawks being able to set up the Marha line, rotating the puck around, cycling it, and not staying in a position, not planning themselves, but moving around. And then, of course, the McCabe play, him pinching up. And this happened previous. Dave Manson made a great play in the neutral zone, coming up to break up a rush by the Predators. The Predators get the puck in their own zone through the middle of the ice, and McCabe comes up, pinches up on Ronning, and takes away the puck from the pass from Schellberg up to Ronning, and that happened previous. I mentioned Dave Manson. So the Hawks not only are good offensively, but through the neutral zone, they're able to sit back and see what's happening, see what's developing, and stepping up to break up the rushes.
Here's the draw. Cleared into the Nashville zone. Amani to the near corner. Got spun around, but gets help from Jamnock to Amani. A shot is one-timer deflecting wide. And Nashville's Scrastons is checked on the end boards by Gilmore. Rolled to the far side. It's chopped loose, and here comes Johnson. Mike Johnson carries it 2-on-2 over the Hawk line. Weaves to the near corner. Now turns behind the net. Center one right to Berehowski. What a save by Thibault! Craig Berehowski was left unchecked, just 10 feet in front of the Hawk goal. Had a great chance with a one-timer, and Thibault, a magnificent save.
I don't care what time of the game it is, what the score is, you just can't afford to take a nap against this Predators team, because they rely on their great speed, their finesse, and their beautiful moving of the puck ability. Greg Johnson has excellent speed. He takes things to the outside a lot, and an excellent dish to the front of the net to Drake Berehowski, who really picked his hole. A lot of the Blackhawks back, but they're right in front of Jocelyn Thibault. Berehowski, the right-handed defenseman, moves well up on the rush. Johnson around the net has two of his forwards going to the net. That pulls everybody back, and Berehowski moves in and gets off a shot, and then a rebound goes directly back to Thibault. So a couple of good saves for Jocelyn Thibault, and a nice rush by the Predators.
Really, that rebound shot that I actually couldn't even detect from up here. I think Dougie Smolik just saved a goal. So the Hawks with a 2-0 lead here, down to 6 minutes remaining in the opening period. As they battle for it, and Jamnock gets to a loose puck and sends it into the Nashville zone. Taken by Joel Bouchard. And it's cleared out to center ice. Andy Robitaille rolled it in over the line. Here's a shot. That was shot wide. And into the near corner. It's dug out by Velicevic. He works to the far side, then to the slot, shooting. And a good glove save by Thibault, who hangs on. 5.5 remaining in the first. Chicago 2, Nashville nothing. This is Chicago Blackhawk hockey.
Hey, get a load of the old timer.
That there is the legendary Radio Robert.
Who?
20 years ago, he was unstoppable. Had a slap shot you could hear but could not see, hence nickname Radio.
Yeah, well, they can call him Rusty Robert now. Hey, Rusty!
Don't say it, Tony.
Still got that shot, Tin Man? Let's see it!
Punk. Hey, maybe you should be a goalie, Tony.
Welcome back. 2-0 to score in favor of the Blackhawks. 5.5 remaining in the first period, and what a chance the Predators did have. Actually, it's Doug Smolik who comes back to help Jocelyn Thibault. The initial save is by Thibault, but there's a rebound that hits Doug Smolik on the second try, and it hits Doug Smolik in the leg and then goes into Thibault. That would have been an empty net goal. Nice play by Doug.
Here's Sullivan over the line. He's got McCammon. Oh, couldn't quite get it to him. Then Sullivan back, and that center one. Nylander! He shot it wide. Oh, boy, a wonderful chance for Michael Nylander at point-blank range. And nobody checking him, but he didn't appear to hit the target. Now it's dumped into the Chicago zone. Squirts free. A long shot is blocked in front of the net. And taken by Thibault, and his drive. Good save by Thibault through a screen. He didn't know where it was till it hit him. A lot of traffic in front of Thibault that time, but he was in the right spot. And now here's Mironov. Putting it over to the right wing board. Nice pass to McCammon from Nylander. And Dean McCammon cleared it into the Nashville zone.
What a great play behind the net by Steve Sullivan to get the puck to Michael Nylander. First of all, I can't believe he missed. It was almost a complete empty net. Had Dunham looking behind the net, first of all, not getting back into position. And, of course, the other way the puck goes, Thibault with a great blast. And usually after missing a chance like that, the other team comes back and scores, but Thibault was right there to make a good stop.
Doug Smolik in his own end. Bouncing it back into the Nashville zone. Chased down by Cliff Ronning. He gets help from Drake Barahowski. And Legwand, a weak effort, failed to get it out. Here's Amoni with a shot. And he fired it wide from a tough angle. It bounces back to center ice. And the Hawks are able to dump it in, but Dunham clears it out himself.
David Legwand has really picked his game up, but of course there's times when you're still learning, especially in your own zone. You have to be 100% sure when you're in there with the puck, especially as a centerman.
Ronning now along wrist shot. Good toe save by Thibault. Squirts through. And oh, did the whistle go? I guess so. That's the third time in this period the Hawks have been the beneficiaries of a very quick whistle. Meanwhile, it was a very good save initially because that shot was labeled for the near post. And Thibault with a quick move with his left leg.
A little Vaseline on the puck, or at least a little W10. There's been a few squeaky situations. A quick shot through. Thibault makes a save, and I think it may be his blocker and his stick that knocks it back between his legs and out the other end. But the whistle went already, and Thibault gets up looking around. Where is it? But that's the third time that the puck has been loose around the crease, and the whistle has gone all in favor of the Blackhawks. So when things are going your way, they've got the 2-0 lead, and things go your way. And of course, Jocelyn having a little word with Mark Fawcett, thanking him. Happy peas in the whistle tonight.
Face off to the right at Thibault. Don't forget the Hawks are at home tomorrow night. I can't believe it. Tonight the Blackhawks reached the halfway point of the season. And tomorrow night they'll have their first look at the Colorado Avalanche, the team in the Western Conference. Now here's a shot. Tip, good save. Thibault rebound. They tried to score from behind that. They did. Greg Johnson scored from behind that with Thibault down. He banked it in off his backside. And it's a 2-1 Hawk lead.
A lot of good things happen for teams if they can win faceoffs cleanly, and this is exactly what happens. And of course, the guy who scores the goal is Greg Johnson. He is also the guy that takes the faceoff. It goes back to the point eventually. A quick shot, a good redirection by Johnson, but a nice save by Thibault. And Jocelyn Thibault, this is maybe about the third time so far in the first period where I'm not sure he knows where the puck is. He's down with the spread. He knows Johnson has it, but he can't get up, and for some reason he stays down. And his head is actually on the opposite side. He tries to get his legs up against the far post. Johnson sort of stashes it in underneath Thibault and then back into the net.
So the Hawks Lead cut in half, and here comes Krasov over the line. Center one tip, deflected just wide of the near post. Rebound to the Predators. And Yachmanev jammed it loose. Here's Krivo on the near side. He left it there for Johnson. Greg Johnson, center. Krasov knocked down as he was ready to shoot, but a penalty coming up against Chicago. So the Predators, having just scored, now getting more momentum on their side with a power play chance.
And Brian McCabe will go off for checking. No Blackhawk checking. It's totally free checking with an attitude at TCF Bank. Stop by and sign up for your Blackhawk checks. A free Blackhawk hat and all the benefits of totally free checking. Visit one of the 130 TCF Bank locations or call 1-800-TCF-BANK to score Blackhawk checking. And Greg Johnson with a fine pass right through as Krasov tries to find a seam, and just a one-handed push on the shoulder of Krasov knocks him to his pants. And I'm not sure what the penalty is. It's going to be a tripping call. I think a pretty good play by Brian McCabe, who steps up into the slot area. Nice play by Johnson to get it to Krasov, who has a little speed. He's coming from high in the slot. He gathers the puck up, but there is Brian McCabe. He straight arms him to the shoulder and goes down. And he gets a penalty for it.
Nashville with their second power play chance of the game. The first one snuffed out in fine fashion by Chicago, but the Predators maybe with a little more juice going now, having just scored a goal. Here's the draw. And the Hawks are unable to clear it. Back to the Chicago net it goes, taken by Ronning. Cliff Ronning put it into the near corner, then got it back along the boards. Ronning to the side of the net. Legwand gave it back to Ronning. He shoots one, and a save by Thibault, giving no rebound. And Manson made sure that if the puck did come loose, his man wasn't going to be anywhere near it.
Sit down and watch from the ice. And Dave Manson, a little bit snarly maybe because of a little gash on his nose, but he has played solid hockey. He's a +2 this year, Pat, which is very good. Playing with his partner, Doug Smolak, who's a +7. Not a lot of pluses in red tonight, but those two as a pair have played very well. He's doing his job in front of Jocelyn Thibault, but the Predators on their power play getting the face-off win, but everything on the perimeter. And anytime you have a couple of guys that are playing catch down low, around the hash marks in the corner, and then elect to shoot it with not a lot in front, it should be an easy save, and that's exactly what you would like to see happen. Smolak and Manson doing a fine job in front.
Face off to the left of Thibault. Here's the draw to the Predators. Ronning sending it up the near side. Taken by Patrick Shelberg. Left it for Robitaille. Back to the line and Ronning for Robitaille near board. Randy Robitaille scooped it to Ronning. His long wrist shot is blocked. Came back to him. He tries again. Thibault with a stick save. Rebound Timonen far side. Timonen in the corner looking for a little help. In behind a Legwand. 19-year-old David Legwand put it to the deep slot. Held in by Ronning to Robitaille. He goes rink wide to Timonen and fires. Thibault with a blocker save. Rebound to the Predators in behind. Then a centering pass to drive. Oh, Thibault! A magnificent save on a point-blank chance. Ronning can't believe he didn't finish that.
Oh, this is an amazing save, and is so similar to the way the Blackhawks set up their power play on the Boris Smirnov goal. Everything goes to one side of the ice, and then the pass comes, and Ronning is all alone with an empty net. It has to be a quick play by the goaltender to make a save. Fine pass by Legwand. Ronning moves down low on the opposite side, gets up a quick shot. Sullivan is on the other side of Ronning and tries to get back into the play, but all alone in the slot in a better position than Mironov on the power play was Ronning. He didn't waste any time. It was on the stick and off the stick, and Thibault came across from his right post, I think maybe about 2 feet more to the left. It would have been a tougher save for Thibault, almost to the middle of the net, but still good acrobatics, good skill shown by Thibault, pushing off the right post and getting set up into the middle of the ice.
A minute to go in the Nashville power play. 2 minutes to go in the first. 2-1 in favor of the Hawks. And here's the draw taken by Manson. He couldn't get it out. Timonen holding it in, sends it up the boards. Manson chopped it loose. Marhawk clears it back the other way.
That's a good second effort. Dave Manson had the puck and did not get it out, but he stayed with it. He watched the eyes of the defenseman back in the point and what he was doing. He read it well, moved up, and got the second chance at it.
Now the Predators, Robitaille dumped it in. It goes around to the far side. And the Predators put it in behind the net. Volicevic has it there with nobody in front to look for. Now to the near point, Robitaille. Put it to the deep slot, Timonen. Again to Robitaille, they play catch. Then Timonen throws it to the near side. Taken by Johnson. He chipped it in deep, Volicevic in the corner. Gave it to Johnson along the near board. He's at the top of the ring, walks to the dot. Johnson still hanging on to it. Put it to the deep slot. Here's Robitaille, shot blocked by Amani. The Hawk penalty is over now. Both teams are at full strength. As Rob Volicevic is grabbed by Jamnoff. It came to the near side. Amani jammed it loose nicely to Manson. He'll accept an icing call here as the Hawks wanted to make a change.
In the last 20 seconds, Pat, Alex Jamnoff did not have a stick. They tried to work against him back on the left side. They moved the puck to the right, but they weren't able to get it through. Tony Amani came out and made an excellent block late in the power play for the Predators, and that nullified any puck possession the Predators had. Brian McCabe was able to come back on the ice, get right back into the play, so Predators weren't able to take advantage of a forward without a stick, and a good kill for the Blackhawks here late in this first period to preserve the one-goal lead they have. Maybe they will be able to take it into the locker room, which would be an excellent first period overall. They played very well, a good road period so far. Predators, though, seem to be picking it up as the period has gone on. They started to skate a little bit better and control the play a little bit better.
They have been credited, Nashville, with 22 shots on goal. There's the draw. Here to the far side, Dumont is checked on the boards, failed to get it out. Centering pass, Walker taken down, and Mironov might have gotten away with one there. Now it's picked up by Jamie Allison. He works his way to center, shooting it in. Into the far corner goes Dumont. JP Dumont jammed loose to Daze. The return pass never got through. And Barahowski tries the near side. And it deflects eventually out to center ice. There Joseph Marha chipped it back in, and that'll do it for the first period. Eric Daze was left all alone in front of the Nashville goal.
Welcome back to the Gaylord Entertainment Center here in Nashville. The score after one period of play, the Blackhawks 2, the Predators 1, and Tony Kukoc has returned to the Bulls lineup, and so is the winning feeling. Find out how the guys can keep it going when they travel to the Big Apple to battle the Knicks. Coverage starts in the game room. The Bulls and the Knicks Tuesday at 6 on Fox Sports Net.
Two to 1 Chicago as we get set to open up the second period. Jocelyn Thibault making 21 saves in the first period is down to our left, and Mike Dunham, who stopped only 6 shots in the first period, will be down to our right. Here's a draw cleared into the Nashville zone. Kick loose in the far corner. Jamnoff with it there, put it in behind. It squirts away from Gilmore to Amani. He's checked, but Gilmore tried to slap it toward the slot. Yachmanov stole that and cleared it back the other way.
A lot has to do with mental preparation. It's something the Blackhawks have been trying to work on, being ready for games at all times and making sure, I think, overall that they are going to be able to compete. And anytime you have 22 shots against, you have to wonder exactly what was going on. They've had a little trouble, Pat, as of late with shots against.
Now it's deep in the Chicago end of the ice, centering pass, and Schellberg shot one wide. Rebound picked up by Gilmore. He sends it ahead to Amani over the line. His long range shot came back to him, and he tried again, but that second shot went wide as well. Now Gilmore side of the net, centered one, hit a leg, and laid in the crease where Dunham covers it up.
It was interesting that before the game, when I talked to Lauren Mullick, and I questioned him on the number of shots against. In the last 5 games, they've had no less than 30 against. In fact, 50 in Detroit against, and their average is 35 in the last 5 games. And he said, you know, I don't really look so much at that stats. I look at the scoring opportunities, and I feel they're not as bad as the shot number and total against us, so I'm not as concerned as you may think. And it is, on the other side, kind of ironic that the Predators, Pat, in their last 10 games, of course, they've lost their last 2, but during their streak also, they've been outshot 9 of the last 10 games. And they had an 8-game streak where they hadn't lost a game. So I don't know if shots mean that much, unless they're in the net.
I saw the Predators general manager, David Poyle, before the game, asked him about the hot streak, and he used one word, goaltending. Now here's Timonen in back of his own net, is checked by McCammon, but Bill Holder able to get to it and help out and chip it to center ice. Now Timonen able to bounce one into the Chicago zone, taken by Allison, who rings it around the boards, and this one slides all the way back into Nashville territory. The Predators have 14 wins this year, equally divided between here and the road. They have 7 wins, 10 losses, 2 ties here in the Gaylord Center, and on the road they have 7 wins as well. Now they've got the puck back in the Hawk net, a centering pass picked off by Mironov. And Boris Mironov works his way to the Nashville line. Made a drop pass to Daze, whose speed deflects to Marha. He tried to win. Daze open, didn't know it, and now the counterattack for Nashville. Here's Fitzgerald in over the line on the right side. He tried to center. Manson broke up the pass. Now Walker won the puck, centered one. Fitzgerald to drive. Blocker saved Thibault. Rebound Dumont able to chip it to center.
A pretty good transition by the Predators, moving up the ice rather quickly, but Manson makes a great play. Joseph Morrow gave the puck away in the offensive zone, was able to come back and help out also.
Now Fitzgerald steals the Manson pass, put it to the line. Barahowski drive, they score! Now Fitzgerald was near the front of the net, may have redirected it after Barahowski cranked up from the far point, and now it's a tie game.
The tide has definitely turned in favor of the Predators. Latter half of the first period, they started to turn it up a notch. Got their legs underneath them and had plenty of opportunities. The Blackhawks are not playing poorly, but the Predators taking advantage, maybe a little miscue behind the net. Manson around, it's intercepted by Fitzgerald. He goes directly back to Barahowski, a drive from the point, and maybe Fitzgerald does touch the puck. Not a big goal scorer, only his 7th on the year. In fact, he just got his 100th goal January 1st. He's almost played 700 games. He says, you know why I'm not a goal scorer in this league? Because I'm a defensive player. He says, don't come to me and talk about goals so much. I'll talk to you about defensive hockey. But he is definitely getting credit with a nice play. First of all, reading Manson, picking the pass off down along the boards and going directly back to the point, but not staying behind the net, going to the front and redirecting the shot.
So Fitzgerald from Barahowski at 2:34, and what was once a 2-0 Chicago lead, it's now a 2-2 game. Here's the puck deep in the Nashville zone. Olczyk working along the end boards. It rolls free to the near corner, and the Predators' Cote gets help to clear it back to the Chicago line. Now Sylvain Cote for Chicago finds Probert. He dumps one in. The Predators fail to get it out. Vandenbush in front to Probert. He's checked. It rolled loose to Cote long flip shot. That deflects wide. Into the corner goes Probert. Probert battling along the near side, and the Predators' Bill Holder able to jam it loose, but not out. It's held in. Here's a shot. And the attempt from Vandenbush never got through. Back of the net, Probert once more. Bob Probert works to the side of the net, battling toward the slot, bending off a check, hanging on to it to Cote. He golfed it into the far corner. Olczyk jammed it along the end board. Vandenbush, what an exhausting shift this is for all 10 players on the ice. A lot of board work going on here, and finally the Predators' Holder, he's seen enough of that. He's able to hoist it back the other way. He'll gladly take an icing call after that strenuous shift.
Would you call them chairman of the boards, Probert and Vandenbush on that shift? And in between, Ed Olczyk. And believe it or not, that line really, I think, was instrumental in the victory versus Calgary. Bob Probert was thrown out midway through the game, but his line, Ed Olczyk and Vandenbush, they really played well offensively. They took the body, they had plenty of chances, and I think they turned the tide early on in the game. And poor Vandenbush has, I think, 2 black eyes, a broken nose, and Bob Probert also had a pretty good fight, and the jersey came over his head, and he was ejected from the game. And up to that point, that line played very, very well, and this is an excellent shift. They don't get a lot of ice time. They haven't tonight, but that shift there was grueling.
Race off to the right of Mike Dunham. Here's the draw. Held in nicely by Mironov. He put it to Amati. Shooting. Dunham the save. Rebound. They score! Doug Gilmour there to poke a backhand shot in for the rebound. After the Hawks won a face-off, and bang, it's in the net. 3-2 Chicago.
Well, this is the second time in this game with a good, clean face-off win. One went for Nashville, and now this one for the Blackhawks. And the one thing you must do after winning a face-off is know what your role is. Go to the net and get into position. You got to remember Doug Gilmour, a lot of this time here with Jamnok's line is playing left wing, so he not necessarily is going to be the centerman, and he ends up parked in front of the net. He does take the face-off and does win it. Only one hand on the glove also, by the way. And directly goes to the front of the net. His top hand doesn't have a glove, but he's able to get the rebound and whack it in past Dunham.
Doug Gilmour's 15th of the season. Now here's a centering pass deflecting to the side of the goal, and Dunham reaching gets help to spot it to the far side where Riva Krasov failed to get it out. Back of the goal, Barahowski is checked by Amani, and Jamnok stole it for Gilmour. That pass deflected away from him. And the Predators' Kriva Krasov gets back to center, and who's the first guy back to break up the rush as a forward was Jamnok. Now the Predators' Krivo checked at center, and Yachmanev carried on center one. Oh, he just missed Johnson. He was alone momentarily in the slot, and Timonen got to it. Timonen works in behind the Hawk net against Amani. Timonen poked it over to the far side. Johnson to the deep slot along. Wrist shot pass saved by Thibault. Rebound in behind the net. Allison packed it to the near side. Gilmour unable to get it out. Here's a chance for Yachmanev. Put it in front. A shot. They score. Yachmanev, who took the initial shot, got a rebound on the doorstep, and it's a 3-3 game.
I'm a little surprised early on, before this goal and before the good puck movement by the Nashville Predators, there was a weaker soft shot towards Jocelyn Thibault, and he really doesn't play it that well. He makes the stop, but he leaves the loose change about 5 feet in front of him. It is picked up by the Nashville Predators, and they forecheck, and the Blackhawks do eventually get control of it. They ring it around the boards, and it is not exited out of the zone. It is kept alive by the Predators. A couple of good give and goes with Greg Johnson and Yachmanev. A great backhand pass to Johnson, and Johnson goes right back towards Yachmanev on the other side of the net. He fires it into the empty net.
A 3-2 Hawk lead lasts only 63 seconds. The Predators come right back and tie the game. Now it's 3-3. There's the draw. Taken by Nylander, dropping it into his own end. Taken by Smolik. He failed to get it out. Ronning tried to center, but missed Shellberg with a pass. And now Doug Smolik, from deep in his own end, chipped it up the boards. It slides the length. The race is on for icing, and Bookner there to get the whistle for Nashville.
An odd game so far. 6 goals. We've seen a lot of great games between these two, which will become rivals, I do think. Only an hour flight, and people have flown down from Chicago to take part in this game in the stands tonight. Talked to a few of them earlier on, and they've always had great games. And boy, this is a wide open affair now. It started off with the Blackhawks an early 2-goal lead, but I mentioned it in the first period, you can't fall asleep against this Predator team. They are so skillful. They use their speed. And the one thing they've been able to do, they have the luxury this year, not so much in this game because of the lineup they have, because Cote's in their lineup, a tougher guy, but they rotate 4 lines pretty much all game long. And the minutes have dropped down for individuals that usually log around 20 to 22 minutes. They're now getting 15 to 17 minutes, but they're all fresher. And when you're able, as Barry Trotz can, throw everyone on, and he respects every line, he feels they can all contribute, that's a huge bonus.
Here's the draw. Daze gave it away. Here's a long shot, and a save by Thibault on the long attempt from Bordeleau. Bordeleau tries again. This one sails wide. Rebounding to the near side. And finally the Hawks able to get it out of there. There have been some costly turnovers for Chicago in their own end, particularly here early in this second period. Hawks need to tighten that up. Now here's Dumont looking to steal one. AP Dumont, though, is bumped, and a puck deflects out to center ice. Marha able to dump it in there. Will Holder tries the left side. This one slides the length. It'll be icing against the home team. Almost 7 minutes have gone by here in the second period. Hawks and the Preds tied at 3. This is Blackhawk hockey. That following Billy Gardner back in Nashville. If the crowd seems a little more worked up than you might have expected, well, they just replayed the finish of the most incredible playoff football game I think the NFL has ever seen. The Tennessee Titans today, and not only that they won, but the way they won in the game's final moments against the heartbroken Buffalo Bills. They just replayed the kickoff return for a touchdown that the Tennessee team executed, and the fans here were cheering as if it was happening live in front of them. They were exhorting that guy to get into the end zone, and he did.
Absolutely amazing, Pat. I think everyone that watched that game would have to have said, no way, this is coming back. There's no touchdown. To the naked eye when you watched it on television, it took a replay to confirm the fact. I don't even know if you can confirm it. It's an awkward situation. The lateral pass, it didn't look like it was a lateral pass. It looked like a forward pass. It ended up being a huge play, though, as you mentioned. Quite a bit of history, really, here in Nashville.
All right, the draw now taken by Smolik. He rolled it ahead. Controlled now by the Predators, and Patrick Cote dumped it into the Chicago zone, taken by Manson. Dave Manson up the left side, and Olczyk chipped it into the Nashville zone. Vanderbush tried to center that, rolled through to the far corner, and Velicevic, trying to avoid a check from Probert. They locked skates momentarily. Probert went flying, but no harm done, and the play continues at center with Olczyk shooting it in.
Probert were hurt. He went down awkwardly, and he was slow to get up.
Now here's going to be an icing call coming up against Nashville. Hey, Billy, yesterday I had a real treat. I got a chance to go yesterday afternoon, go skate with the Chicago Blackhawk alumni, which they do on a weekly basis. I don't know why you don't come out more often, but we had a great time, a great gathering of people. But the best thing that happened was we saw the great Stan Mikita. He came by to say hello to the guys, and looks like $1 million. Looks like he could have picked up 5 or 6 assists in that alumni game yesterday. So it was great to see Stan, and he's feeling wonderful, and going to have a chance to take a little vacation here very soon. And you know, it's amazing. You think people don't change as time goes on. I would have never expected Stan Mikita to look like a punk rocker, but he's got his hair shaved off.
I'm sure he's going to hit the ball a little extra yardage too now.
I didn't know whether he was coming to skate with us or he was going to be the lead singer for Limp Bizkit. But he looked great. It was really good to see him.
He wouldn't look good down here. Need a cowboy hat.
Now the play is deep in the Nashville zone. Amani works the corner, got it to Zhamnov. He's checked right away. And Gilmore lurking, trying to come up with it. But the Predators actually do, and Straston's cleared it back to the center ice area. Here's Zhamnov over the line to Amani on right wing. Fires into the glove. That was going to go high and wide, but Dunham snared it anyway and hung on.
And I like the quick play by McCabe, moving the puck. He's back in his own blue line. The play went to him, and he quickly threw it up to Amani. And Amani, I think, a little bit tired at the end of his shift, just stepped over the line and let one rip. Easy save for Dunham. And fans, tickets are available for the Blackhawks Vancouver Canucks game January 12th. Call Ticketmaster at 312-559-1212. Talking about busy days here, Pat, and even weekend with the Hawks game and the big football game today. I saw you two-stepping, didn't you? Yeah, you were in there.
In our hotel, they've got some...
it's the World Championships.
For, what is
country and Western dancing, line dancing, all that stuff. Ballroom sort of dance. I don't know. It is amazing. It is packed. From youngsters all the way up to grandparents, and everyone's decked out in their outfits. And I thought I saw you. I swore I saw you.
I finished 24th in the category of old guys with 2 left feet.
There's only 23 people entered.
Here comes Kjellberg in over the line. He sends it in deep, running back of the net. Left it there. Legwand trying to center one. That pass deflecting to the near corner. Holder unable to corral it. And then Steve Sullivan will. Sullivan clearing it to the neutral zone. McCammon with a bouncing puck couldn't get it to settle down. And the Predators move back in. Legwand on left wing. Cuts to that. He's in. Just mishandled it as he tried to pull it to the backhand. And now the Hawks with a chance to counter 3-on-2. Here they come with Nylander on the right side over the line. Weaves to the slot center and a drive. Never got through. The attempt from McCammon hit a leg. And then Sullivan to the near corner for it. Works in behind the net. Sullivan center. Manson a drive. Not on the save. It squirted through him to the crease. But Bouchard there to come away with it. And Joel Bouchard chipped it over the line. Leg one. In front shooting. He missed the near post by a couple of feet. And then Manson trying to get things settled down for Chicago. He's got some skating room as the Predators were changing. Manson will shoot it in. On the far side, it squirts all the way back to center ice.
Unbelievable sequence of plays, back-to-back, 2 different times. Each team had 2 different situations of an odd man moving up the ice, and really good plays, first of all, on the initial 2 of guys getting back to hamper the offensive situations, and then the last 2 were really good chances offensively by both clubs.
Hawks defense pair has been trapped out there for a while, haven't been able to make a change. Here's a Bordelot centering pass, that hit a skate, deflecting to Marha. He was unable to corral it. And now Scott Walker with it for Nashville. Walker rolled it in deep. Fitzgerald. He left it there. Bordelot rubbed off along the end boards and rolled over to the far side. Holder kept it in. Chipped it in deep. Now Walker for Nashville. Ran into some traffic along the boards. One of the referees was there. It's held in though by Walker. And then a pass finally deflects into the center ice area. And Timonen hit hard as he tried to move in. Then Dumont hit hard from behind in open ice by Walker. And with all of that, the officials say play on.
Looked like everybody was dead
and Doug
tired.
Smolik, look at this. He wants an icing call in the worst way, as he and Manson were trapped out on the ice for the longest time. And only now with a whistle can they get some fresh legs out there. 8.5 left now in the second. We're tied at 3. This is Chicago Blackhawk hockey.
8.5 minutes remaining, 3-3 to score, a seesaw battle. It looks like a pinball machine out here at times. But the Blackhawks did have a glorious opportunity. Steve Sullivan from behind the net finds Dave Manson, and I think Patrick Kjellberg came out, and it just touches Kjellberg and then goes through the legs of Dunham, and it hits his back skate and goes out the other side. What a chance for Manson. He blasted it.
Now the Hawks Marinoff chipping one to the Nashville line. And then a giveaway there by Barahowski. Here's Zamnoff for Gilmore. He tipped it just wide. Barahowski, a good recovery to tie up Gilmore's stick. Otherwise, he would have been really guilty of some bad maneuvers.
What a quick reaction by Zamnoff to get it right back. And very alert Barahowski with Gilmore on the doorstep.
Now deep in the Hawk zone, here's Amati. Bouncing one to center ice, chased down by Zamnoff, who was checked by Krivakasov. Now Jamie Allison had it but lost a bouncing puck. Then managed to recover it, stealing away from Yachmanev. And the Hawks Marinoff ran out of time as he tried to wait for his teammates to get back on side. Here's Ronning in over the Nashville line, or the Chicago line. Ronning to the deep slot, rolled it to the backhand, then lost it. Still tried to center McCabe in front to steal it. Then he coughed it up. Here's a centering pass from Johnson. Hit a skate and deflects to Ronning. He gave it to Kjellberg, moving and shooting. Tebow with a glove will snare it and hang on.
Kind of bad play by Tebow to not only grab it, but to hold on to settle things down. It's just been all over the track in this period. Both teams getting chances, but mainly had one in on Tebow. A little sloppy play by the Blackhawks at times in their own zone. And Cliff Ronning, that last 20 seconds owning the puck. He's all over the ice. And anytime you have a guy like Ronning all over the ice, he finds a lot of guys open. He's very quick to move it. A little bit earlier, the Blackhawks did have their chance. And what a play by Barahowski, intercepted by Gilmore in the middle of the ice. He drops it to Zamnoff. Zamnoff tries to read it and go right back to Gilmore. Barahowski whips Gilmore out of the play. It was right there, but Gilmore wasn't able to get enough wood on it.
Now the draw in the Hawk zone. Cleared back the other way. Bugner has to chase it down. And now the Predators leg one. Got to the line, lost it there. Dean McCammon is spilled at center, and a penalty is going to be called here against the Predators.
Bugner's going to go out for maybe just getting the leg out a little bit on Dean McCammon. Dean McCammon gather the puck up at his own blue line. He turns in to the neutral zone, and who does he look at? Bob Boughner, who moves up and gets a left leg out enough to trip up Dean McCammon. And the call will be made on Boughner for tripping. He definitely moves the left leg into the legs of McCammon, and McCammon goes down. So good call against Boughner, and the Blackhawks now with a good chance on the power play to maybe take the lead.
Hawks with a power play goal tonight, now have scored 5 goals on the power play in their last 5 games, including this one. There was 7 minutes remaining here in the second in a 3-3 game. A power play chance awaiting the visitors. Here's Marinoff now from deep in his own end. Marinoff, who's got a goal and an assist in the game, got it to center for Nylander, who gains the line, chipped it to Zhamnov. He rings it around the boards. Nylander on the near side, unable to corral it. Johnson then couldn't get away from Marinoff, who held it in beautifully to Gilmore. He sends it in deep. Darahowski wrestling with Sullivan. A couple of others join the fray, and Craig Johnson backhands it, but not out. Marinoff again did well to keep it in. Now Gilmore in behind the net, rings it to the near side. And here's another hold in by Marinoff across to Sullivan. He's center one. Gilmore in tight. Turns behind the net, centered a shot, and hit a leg as Nylander tried to fire it quickly, but it never really got through, and then Dunham grabs it.
Doug Gilmore elected not to shoot the puck. He was all alone, but he was on his forehand, and he was to the right of Mike Dunham. Didn't have a good situation to shoot the puck, so he decided to go around the net and try to find Michael Nylander, and the puck got through to Nylander, but by the time he got the puck, there was a bunch of traffic in front. I'm not sure if Mike Dunham has to even make a save on the play. Pretty good puck movement from the Blackhawks at the top of the blue line area first and initially, and they were able to move it down to Doug Gilmore, who was all alone. Pretty good play by the youngster Scrastins to take his body and move all the way across diving, and that eliminated anything Doug Gilmore could do with the puck. So then he had to move it around behind the net and try to find Nylander. By that time, again, there were so many guys in front, there wasn't anything left to do with the puck.
A minute to go on the Hawk power play. Here's the draw. Cote holding it into McCabe. Here it comes. Deflected. Good shot block. As Fitzgerald, the Nashville captain, sprawled to make the block, and now a penalty is going to be called.
I think it's going to go against the Blackhawks. Eric Daze, I believe, for interference off the face-off win. As the Blackhawks win the face-off and move it back to the point. Cote all the way across to McCabe, and Daze drives to the front of the net, and he takes Dunham down with his stick as he moves through the crease area from behind. He gets by Billy Holder, but his stick goes underneath the left leg of Dunham, and that pulls Dunham down. He may be a little bit of an act, but the shot by McCabe is redirected. Daze shaking his head because he feels maybe that he was pushed a little bit. So still 57 seconds remain in the first initial penalty to Boughner, and now it'll be 4-on-4 hockey for that length of time. Then the Predators will have a power play.
By the way, Dougie Gilmore's got a goal and assist tonight. His helper for Gilmore gives him 856 assists. That's 17th all-time on the NHL career assist list. He is closing in on a fellow we just had a peek at, Dennis Savard, the legendary Hawk star. Savard finished his magnificent career with 865 helpers. Gilmore now within 9 of them. Here's the draw taken by Bouchard in over the line. Drops in the near corner, then was stripped of it, and Amani moves the other way. Tony Amani to the Nashville line. A long centering attempt didn't connect with McCabe, and the Predators able to recover. Here's Joel Bouchard. Getting it to Bordeleau over the line. He's grabbed by McCabe, and Janov took it away. Tomorrow night, the Colorado Avalanche will be in the United Center. That's a 7 o'clock start, remember. Amazingly, our first look at a Western Conference team all season long. Now a shot and a save by Dunham. It was tipped toward the net by Zhamnov, who thought the puck had crossed the line. No indication at all from the closest referee, who was Mark Fawcett. And it appears the Hawks are trying to get it at least to a replay situation, but I'm not sure that's even going to work.
But from our vantage point, we really did not get to see where the puck was. Jamnoff doesn't get a lot of wood on it. As they move across the blue and the Blackhawks, Tote fires it all the way across. It may hit Gilmore and then Jamnoff, and Jamnoff just redirects it. And it looks like Dunham's blocker and stick are behind the goal line, but I'm not sure if the puck ever got across the goal line itself. Jamnoff didn't get a lot of the puck. It sort of dribbled off. I don't know if it was a stick or his skate, but it went directly towards the net. And the angle definitely does not show the puck across the goal line itself. Mark Fawcett on the one side, I'm sure he doesn't have a good vantage point to see if the puck was over. Alex Jamnoff not sure, and getting a couple of taps from his teammates, and no review, and I guess it didn't go over the line.
Dunham, I have to say, it did appear, got his stick right about on the goal line, and that being the case, of course, the entire puck has to cross the line completely. With the benefit of the replay angles that we did have, it would appear that he did make the save and keep this game tied. The Nashville penalty now is over, and the Predators with a minute of power play time. But here's the draw to Manson with a long shot. That was fired wide, and it's captured by Ronning. Cliff Ronning rolled it out to center ice. Legwand's pass picked off, and Sullivan looking to waste a little time. Does so neatly. He rags it, then put it back into his own end where Manson will clear. And now, here's Robitaille getting yanked down by Sullivan, and the Predators are going to have a two-man advantage for half a minute.
Randy Robitaille is usually a centerman for the Predators, but on the power play has been playing the defense position, the point on the power play, and he collects the puck behind his net. Steve Sullivan, a little burst of energy, tries to force Robitaille from behind the net, making him move, and gets a little hook and maybe a trip. He gets the stick right underneath the leg into the back of the leg and lifts up with his stick. Robitaille goes down in a heap. So almost 30 seconds of 5-on-3 hockey for the Predators. And a good opportunity now here late in the second period for them to take a lead.
We're starting to say that game tomorrow night, 7 o'clock, remember, is the start time in the United Center. The Hawks against the Colorado Avalanche, a team they'll see 4 times, but this the first meeting of the regular season between those two foes. We'll have it for you radio only with a 6:30 Blaney pregame show on MAQ. Now the Predators with a two-man advantage. They've got it into the Hawk zone, running to the far corner. Lift running, dropped it back. Holder put it to Team in a near circle. He takes a look to Holder. Here's the shot. They score! It was tipped in. I'm not sure whether it hit McCabe or the Nashville player in tight to the net. But the Predators cash in on a two-man advantage and lead 4-3.
And the player driving through the crease area was Patrick Kjellberg. It is Billy Holder that lets go of the shot from the point on a pass from Kimmo Timonen. They play catch up high. Timonen goes back to Holder, and Holder's right in the top. He lets go of a good hard shot. McCabe goes down, sacrifices his body about 15 feet in front of Tebow, but the shot is over top of him, and it is a bullet. I'm not sure if Kjellberg gets a piece of it or not, but it is quite a good shot, and I'm not sure why Brian McCabe would go down that early, that far out.
So the Predators continue with a one-man advantage. They scored that goal before the first Hawk penalty was over, so a chance to fatten up their 4-3 lead. And Bill Holder is getting the goal. I did think that shot hit McCabe and was redirected off the Hawk defenseman. So Holder gets credit for the power play goal, and here come the Predators again. Robitaille over the line, one. He shot it wide. Now picked up by Ronning, leaving for Kjellberg, and then Legwand in the far corner. Put it in behind the net. Ronning takes a look from there. Lift Ronning, trying to set one, just jumped away from Kjellberg, and Marha clears.
And Billy Holder has been quite a find for this club. He's really settled the defense down as a whole. He's been a great leader for the club and also can contribute on the offense.
The Predators dump one in. Barahowski to the near corner. Jammed loose, but right to Jamnoff. He hacked it back the other way. One more rush now on this Nashville power play. Johnson was stripped of it. Here's Shamrock looking to counter race. Oh, he tried to kick to the stick but couldn't make the move. Otherwise, he would have had a one-on-one heading toward the Nashville goal. And now the puck frozen deep in the Predator zone.
One of those situations where you think you have a break, but it's up around the benches, and anytime the puck late in the period gets around that area, there's a lot more snow, and I think Alex Shamrock thought he was going to be able to push the puck ahead and then jump into the play, maybe having a breakaway, but it kind of got stuck up, I believe, in the snow, and when he got to it, he almost overskated, then had to push it a little bit too far ahead, and by that time, there was enough Predators back in on him. The one thing he did do is he went down to the ice, was hold on to it. The faceoff's in the neutral zone, but he was tired, and not a bad play for Jamnoff to get a whistle down low in the Predator zone.
That Holder goal was from Timonen and Ronning at 16:07. And at the moment, that's the difference in the game. 4-3 Nashville with 2.5 left in the middle period. Now the draw cleared into the Predator zone, and the Chicago penalty is over, so both teams now are back at full strength as Bordelot races into the Hawk zone. Tipped it in deep. Fitzgerald is checked by Allison. Cleared to the near side. Bouchard held it into Bordelot. He shot it around the boards. Allison chasing it down and gets help from Nylander. He tries to get it out of the zone. He's taken down on the far side, and the puck squirts free to the Hawks. Sullivan trying to walk in. He does. Sullivan stick handling, and then ran out of time as Bouchard tied him up. Sullivan goes crashing into Dunham, and the net comes loose. We're late in the second. It's Nashville 4, Chicago 3. This is Chicago Blackhawk hockey.
I am sick and tired of hearing that our league is inferior to the NHL. Yeah! It is time for us to show the world what they are missing. Yeah! Let us take our product to the people. Yeah! To do this, we must first name a commissioner, someone who is savvy, connected, someone with a past. All those in favor, raise your hand. Where is Murph? What? Oh, why do I bother? Look at you!
Minute and a half remaining in the second period. 4-3 the score in favor of Nashville. A lot of confusion in front of the bench of Nashville, but McCammon comes up with a puck and a good one-on-one effort on Bouchard by Sullivan. He's taken out of play by Bouchard. Pretty good play defensively. Bouchard missed 11 games with a concussion, played against Detroit in the last game, and he was pleading his case. He thought he was going to get a penalty. No penalty called, and a pretty good effort by Sullivan on a one-on-one tight quarters situation.
Now the draw in the Predator zone is taken by Kimmo Timonen with 90 seconds remaining in the middle period. And Greg Johnson dumped it in. McCabe hit by Shellberg on the end boards, but McCabe held the puck out it to Daze, and then he couldn't get it out. Back behind the goal it goes, taken by Ronning. Tapped it loose. Here's Legwand. Getting help from Shellberg on the near side. Shellberg trying to get away from McCabe, cannot. And the Hawks then fail to clear. Here's Ronning along top. That's blocked by Cote in front of the net. Good thing, because the Predators had a man lurking on the doorstep. Now in behind the goal is Shellberg to Ronning. Trying to center, that deflects to Shellberg side of the net, wrestling with Marha, and Ronning came away with it. If Ronning turns, shoot, blocker save, Tebow, rebound, Barahowski couldn't pull the trigger, and Dumont got to it. A.P. Dumont back into the Nashville zone, was 1 against 2, and he's knocked right off the puck by Straston. Now the Predators able to start away. Carlos Straston bounces one out to center ice, taken there by Amani. 10 seconds now remaining in the period as the Hawks misfire on a pass that slides back into the Nashville zone. The race is on for icing. Amani hustles to save it, then Gilmore centered, just missing, jammed off, and that will do it for the second period. Well, the Hawks were outshot 22-8 in the first. Here in the second, they get outscored 3-1, and now they got a problem heading into the third. It was Tom Fitzgerald with a tip-in from Barahowski and Walker at 2:34 to open the.
Now, this is a big period, I believe, for the Blackhawks. I think the one thing that you must do is beat those teams that are right near you, the teams you must get by if you're going to get into the playoffs at all, Pat. They did it against Calgary. They got to have a third period here.
McCammon trying to move in, but his centering attempt deflecting. Lines up in the near corner. Sullivan threw it in front of McCammon. A shot. Oh, and a good save by Dunham, who almost overslid that. It turned into kind of a change-up type shot from McCammon. And Dunham still was able to make the stop.
Such a hard pass that it just knuckled right off the stick blade and almost went the opposite direction.
Now McCammon in the far corner. And along the boards running, though, able to scoop it back into the Chicago zone.
Good positive, though. It's a good start. Good quick move, good play to the middle of the ice, and I'm sure everybody had their ears open in the dressing room in that second intermission. I think the Blackhawks have not played well so far through 40 minutes now after a pretty good start to start the game.
Up into the Nashville zone, and Yachkanev cleared to center ice. Riva Kraslov mishandling it there. And McCabe sending it in. Dunham almost got caught, not sure which to do, go play it or not. His teammates there to help out, and Yachkanev cleared to center ice. Here comes Greg Johnson over the line, stops top of the ring, and put it up the boards. Krastens had it knocked off his stick, and it slides back the other way for an icing call against Chicago.
Drop pass by Greg Johnson. He's played a pretty good game, solid game. Greg Johnson overall. He's been asked to do a lot more this year. Smallish in the middle, and of course having David Legwand, a rookie, in their lineup. The center position is such a important position that Greg Johnson was asked to maybe take away some of his offense this year and play more of a defensive role, and he's also done that well. And he's a good face-off man. He still has a number of points, 7 goals a year, and tonight he's been very flashy. He's been very good with the puck, and the one thing you can get away with when you're smallish is using your great speed, and he has that ability and has done a lot for this club, I think, in a quiet manner.
Now the draw, Bordelot in the near corner is checked. And Walker came up with it against Gilmore, turns in behind Walker, walks out into the slot, shoots, and he shot it wide. Rebound cleared in behind the Hawk net. Taken there by Gilmore, who looks for Daze. He tipped it to center. And now the Hawks, Gilmore picked it up. Steams in over the line, trying to center. Daze couldn't get control of the puck and pull the trigger. And the Predators clear it back into the neutral zone. Dumont with it there on the right side. Has Daze with him. Dumont in over the line, around it. Checks to the backhand. Shoots. Got him. Good stand-up save with the right pad. A brilliant rush by Dumont, but he couldn't quite finish it off. In behind the goal, they wrestle for it. And the Hawks Nylander put it to the line. Mironov on his backhand, able to hold it in. Shot it in deep. Now Nylander took it away from Bouchard to the near point. Mironov walks right in. Fires! And a save by Dunham. Rebound to Shelburne.
That there's an excellent save, because that's a tough, hard shot with Dumont right in Dunham's face. I'm not sure if he saw the puck coming.
Now it's into the Chicago zone, but Allison there to gather it in. Hammered around the boards and all the way back into the Predator zone for an icing call against the Hawks.
Hey, fans, drop by Kohl's and register to be the Blackhawks Fan of the Week. Win 2 tickets, scoreboard picture, and a gift bag. So see store for details. Winners drawn weekly, so enter today. Brought to you by Kohl's and Pro Player. And good transition to the neutral zone. It looked like Dumont and Daze were going to get caught up ice in an odd man situation the opposite way, but the Blackhawks were able to get a turnover at their own blue line and quickly move the puck up to Dumont. It ends up being a 2-on-1. Daze, I thought, was maybe a little bit injured. Walker can't collect the puck. It's thrown up the middle. Dumont comes back and pulls it out of midair and out to the races. But a fine move on Drake Verahowski, pretty good defenseman, to the backhand. Dumont goes and lets one rip, and an awkward save as Dunham was just leaning a little bit to his left, but was able to hold the right pad up.
The draw to Verahowski, who's checked, still able to hold it in though. Over to the far side it goes, and deflects up over the glass and into the crowd.
Dunham save looked like the Leaning Tower Pizza. He was going with the flow. He thought maybe the short side. He tried to move a little bit to his left, but still hung in there. A fine save on the last Dumont play. Blackhawks now are looking at an uphill battle here. Need a couple of goals to get back in this game. Nashville Predators, that passing the 41-game mark in their second season, had identical number of wins as last year, but they had 3 more points overall, and they had 9 more goals and 9 less goals against. So they feel they have improved in that point. A lot of positives.
A lot of the resurgent play from Nashville has come right here in this rink. They haven't lost their last 5 games here. 3 wins, 2 ties. And the Predators opening the action tonight with a 3-point lead over Chicago in the Western Conference. Here's Jamnoff in over the Predator line. Works on the near side. Is checked there though. Then McCabe trying to hold it in. He did. McCabe to the deep slot. Center one. Gilmore shoots. He shot it wide. He might have been trying to feed Amante, but that pass didn't connect. And then winds up all the way back into the Blackhawk end.
Even though Doug Gilmore has been hot, he's starting to score goals. He's been on a great streak doing that, Pat. He still looks to pass so much.
Here's Sullivan. His pass never got through. Into the far corner, Bordelot rolling it up the boards. And a good check by Walker, but then Sullivan held the puck. Trying to find Nylander. It squirts away from him. And the Predators, a clearing attempt, hit the glass and then caught a piece of Manson in the face. He's able to regain his composure and then clear it out of the zone. The Predators are in offside. Hello.
Better check the webbing of your glove hand there. Dave Manson, I think he took it off the eye. He may be cut, Pat. He got one in the beak earlier, and this one comes off the glass, and sometimes when the puck hits the glass, you lose it with the fans behind it and maybe a little bit of a reflection. And he put his hand up there, but he completely missed it. And it caught him just above the eye, into the eyebrow area, and he is definitely going to get a couple of stitches. But I'm sure he's not going to get him right now.
And look at Dave Manson telling Mike, I'm not leaving. And Mike's trying to tell him, you need stitches, my friend. Well, butterfly it up, I'm not leaving.
It's a pretty good little gash. The pressure of the Blackhawks all over the Predators. They just want to get it out of the zone, and Bouchard throws it up off the glass. And definitely, I think the reflection there took the puck away from the eyes of Manson, and it glanced off the glass and right into the head of Manson. So the second cut, the first one did not require stitches, but I think this one definitely will. Manson working on his good looks tonight.
Can't wait for tomorrow. Gets better looking every day.
And all Junior, he's happy to work. Look at Junior with the gloves going at him. Dave saying, hurry up. I want to get back on the ice. Come on, you're slow. Where's that new glue stuff?
There's the draw now. Cleared to the Hawk line. Allison lifting it into Nashville territory. Sullivan giving chase to the near corner. Spins there, dropped it back. And Allison finding Nylander, whose centering pass is picked off. And Timonen scooped it back into the Chicago zone. 5 minutes have been played here in the third. 4-3 in favor of the Predators.
That last play, Pat Cameron was all alone in front of the net. No one near him. Nylander just couldn't get it through 2 players.
Now Nylander in over the line. A drop pass to McCammon around it. Check it. Fires. And a save by Dunham. Rebound to the line. Hawks able to hold it in. Cote had his pass picked off, though, and it's cleared the other way. Going to be icing here against Nashville. Boy, the Hawks, I think this 5.5 minutes of this third period has been as good as any 5-minute sequence in this game for Chicago.
Absolutely. The Predators do not have a shot so far in this third period. The Blackhawks have stepped it up a notch, and the one thing they're doing, they're keeping it pretty base, getting the puck in. They're taking away the passing lanes of the Predators if they don't have control of it. They're also attacking with some authority, getting the blue line, and then they're able to make plays. McCammon with a beautiful move and getting a good, hard, low shot. I bet you a split second later, Sullivan would have been in front. It would have been a tougher save for Dunham, but a nice play by Nylander originally to back the defense off, and he's been good at that. And that gives him about a 10-foot leeway through the blue line where he can make moves. He dropped it back, and McCammon with a fine pull and drag move on the defenseman, and then a good hard shot.
Hawks have had 4 shots on net in the first 5.5 of this third period. The Predators have not yet threatened the Chicago goal. Here's the draw. Sylvain Cote hounded on the boards by Yachmanev, who chipped it to center. Hawks are able to dump it back in there. Taken by 25-year-old Carlos Strastens, who shot it around the boards. It winds up back in the neutral zone. Hawks send it in. No icing. You could hear the linesman yell from way up here. Hawks play it. Here's Gilmore centering. Dunham, what a save! A great point-blank save by Dunham on Jamnov after the Hawks hustled for a loose puck. Now back into the Chicago end it goes. Yachmanev works in the near corner, gets help from Belicevic. A long backhand shot is sticked away by Thibault.
That last play, Pat, offensively, Tony Amani really turned it up a notch. He got in ahead of the play and made a nice pass to behind the net. Gilmore was there, and he made the one-time quick play to Jamnov. That's as good as it gets with hard work.
Predators send it in. Daze going rink wide, gave it away. Here's the drive, they score. Boy, oh boy. That hurts. A steal by Scott Walker, who just read where Daze was going to go with it. Picked it up for the deep slot and wired it by the stick side of Thibault. It's 5-3.
Well, Eric Daze picks the puck up. He looks ahead. He sees lots of open ice, and he tries to go all the way across with the pass. And Scott Walker, I'm not sure if he came off the bench or if he was already on the ice, but he reads Daze like a book and moves in and just lets one rip to the blocker side. A beautiful shot. Scott Walker last year had an incredible year, and he's been given a little extension to his contract, signs a new deal, but has not played that well offensively this year. Has started to pick it up and played much better the last few games.
It's dumped into the Nashville zone. On the far side, Bouchard tipping it around the boards. And the Predators' Walker hoisting it to the Hawk line. Fitzgerald chased it down, weaved to the slot. Dumont got in his way, knocked it loose, and here's J.P. Dumont. Putting it to Joseph Marha, who shoots it in as the Hawks peel off for a change. Legwand clearing the center. And running, then tapped it into Chicago territory. On the far side, Sullivan gets help from McCammon, but he can't corral it. Ronning steals, centered. The shot sails wide, comes to the near board. Timonen putting it in deep. Back of the goal it goes, and Schellberg with it. Centered one. Oh, we put it between teammates. And it winds up back in the Predator end.
That's just amazing how the first 5 minutes really were dominated by the Blackhawks. It looked like the tide was turning, and then all of a sudden, one break, a bad play defensively, they score a goal. It gives a little more life back to the Nashville Predators.
How big was Mike Dunham in the first 5 minutes of this third? He was huge, and as a result, the Predators with a 5-3 lead. This is Chicago Blackhawk hockey.
Hey, get a load of the old timer.
That there is the legendary Radio Robert.
Who?
20 years ago, he was unstoppable. Had a slap shot you could hear but could not see, hence the nickname Radio.
Yeah, well, they can call him Rusty Robert now. Hey, Rusty!
Don't say it, Tony.
Still got that shot, Tin Man? Let's see it!
Punk. Hey, maybe you should be a goalie, Tony.
Welcome back, 5-3 to score now in favor of Nashville, and Scott Walker getting a huge goal. His fourth. Last year he had 40 points, but he took a shot in the last game against Detroit by his own line mate. Sebastian Bordelot was a wrist shot, hit him right in the beak. And of course, Barry Trotz had a chuckle. He said he had one distinguishing difference about Scott Walker was his haircut. Now he has his nose also, because it is definitely huge.
Is that the pot calling the kettle black?
Pat, you know Scotty Walker the last couple of years has been a great hockey player, one of those feisty type players that is a big-time grinder, but he gives you 100% effort all the time. And he really struggled offensively to start this year off, but the last couple of weeks he's started to turn it on. Anytime you get injured, it's sometimes tough to play through, but also it might wake you up a little bit.
Well, the improvement in his skill level over the last couple of years is just a tremendous compliment to him. He's obviously worked on a lot of things, and remember him back in the days when he was with the Vancouver Canucks. He was little more than a role player, and now he is a very important part of this Nashville team.
Amazing what happens when you get a chance to play more. A lot of these guys.
Now it's dumped into the Nashville zone. They work for it along the boards. The Predators able to chip it out of there, and Yachmanev chasing into the Hawk zone, gets help from Johnson, cutting in, he shoots, got a save by Thibault. Rebound Amandi, able to scoop it to center ice.
Be interested to see how the Blackhawks react. They had a great 5 minutes, a solid 5 minutes, good hard work ethic, and this goal against them is definitely hurt, but they still have plenty of time to pick it up and keep going forward.
11 minutes remaining in the third, and the Predators own a 5-3 lead. Here they come over the line. Johnson stops on the near side. Put it to the trailer. Bogner a shot. Good save by Thibault. He was screened by, I think, 2 of his own men. The Predators didn't have anybody near the front of the net, but 2 Hawk players inadvertently gave Thibault some difficulty.
And it's really about the 5th or 6th shot that is kind of handcuffed or giving Thibault a little bit of trouble as Eddie Olczyk and Krivokasov have words. Yachmanev jumps in. I'm sure not much will happen through that. Fitzgerald there now. Maybe something will come of all this. A lot of guys on the ice, especially in red. Not sure if there was word spoken. Krivokasov has not done much in this game.
I'm going to tell you something, too. Troy Parchment's doing a good job here, and Jamie Allison's mad at him, but Jamie Allison just got saved a pile of money and probably a suspension, because Jamie Allison has a short fuse to begin with. The altercation starts right in front of him, and from the bench, he was about to get involved. At least it appeared he was likely to get involved. There's a great move by Troy Parchment, the equipment man. And he just saved Jamie Allison a visit, or a chat at least, with Colin Campbell.
That's absolutely correct.
And if Allison ever settles down after the game, he better go thank Troy for what Troy just did.
Yeah, Troy's been around. He realizes what the situation was and what was happening, and it was right in front of the Blackhawk bench. And there was plenty of guys to grab onto. There's no need for a guy to come off the bench and do what was happening. But Troy Parchment had a good grab on the left arm, and Jamie Allison was not very happy with it. And that's quite a struggle. That's something to behold. I think Troy Parchment doing what he did. Allison was really mad at Parchment, but Parchment did the right thing. You're absolutely correct.
And still, his hair was perfect.
He went to the Kerry Fraser School.
Now the draws in the Hawk zone, and Sullivan makes a nice outlet pass to Nylander. Here he comes to center. Nylander gets the line, left it along. Wrist shot never got through from Olczyk. Into the far corner it goes. Kicked loose along the end board. Sullivan looking for help from Nylander. Michaels had it, got it back to the deep slot. Here's Cote, a shot, and a save by Dunham in traffic. Rebound Fitzgerald will chip it back the other way.
Good puck handling by Michael Nylander. A lot of traffic. He pulled out with the puck, got it back to the point. Cote with a hard shot, and it went through a lot of bodies. Dunham come up with a good save.
Sylvain Cote dumping it in. Eric Daze sends it back of the net. Now Daze got to it in the near corner. He battles his way toward the slot, shooting, and a save by Dunham. Rebound Shelberg, and he sends it into the Blackhawk end of the ice. Taken by Doug Smolik. Flipped it to center. Dumont getting it in. And the Predators, Shelberg, gets back to the center ice area. Bouncing it back behind the Hawk net. We've reached the halfway point of the third period now. 5-3 in favor of the Predators. The Hawks once had a 2-0 lead in this game. Here's Manson deep in his own end. Manson up the boards. It didn't connect with Gilmore. Sliding back into the Predator zone. Nashville has 14 victories this year, and 10 of them have come against teams who were in last year's postseason. Here's a hold in by Mironov, dragged down, a penalty coming up against Greg Johnson, and the Hawks in need of a power play will get that chance right here. 9 minutes to go in the third. 5-3 Nashville. This is Blackhawk hockey.
Greg Johnson has had a goal and an assist tonight. He's been very strong, and he's an excellent penalty killer, but he'll sit for a couple of minutes. A good chance for the Hawks to maybe crawl back into this game. They need 1 to get 2 to tie the game.
Here's the draw to Jamnoff with the deep slot. He put it to Nylander. Spinning top of the ring, turn, shoot, got a blocker save. Rebound back to Nylander on the far side. Michael Nylander to the side of the net. Gilmore takes a look. Put it to the deep slot. Jamnoff lets it go. Good shot blocked by Bordelot. It sails out of play.
Sebastian Bordelot with an excellent block, reading what was happening. The Blackhawks moving it quickly and getting themselves into position. Jamnoff was just trying to dodge Bordelot to get into a better shooting lane, but Bordelot got the stick on it, directed it up into the crowd, and he's quite a story. Boy, what an ending last year he had. He had to have surgery on his back and had a tough start to this year also when he was able to creep back into the lineup. Had an injury that kept him out. He was a healthy scratch for 3 games just last week, but got back in against Dallas and Detroit. And boy, last year at the end of the year, Pat, he played very, very well for this club, and he played well against the Blackhawks. So I remember a game in here when he was waltzing all over the place. But he's taking Greg Johnson's position here on the penalty kill.
Now the draw, won by Sullivan to Mironov at the far point. Pulling it up the boards. And Nylander got to it. To Gilmore out of the far corner. He walks in behind the net. Moves to the near side, then got it to Sullivan in the corner. Again to Gilmore along the boards. Walks to the outside of the net. Sullivan, he couldn't find Mironov this time. Sullivan has it in behind. Center one, Jamnoff shooting. He was blocked. And the Predators, Bordelot clearing.
I don't think that got through. It may have hit Gilmore or Barahowski, but good play. A great pass back and right into the middle of the ice with plenty of traffic. Very tough situation for a goaltender.
Now Jamnoff rolled it ahead. Mironov hammers it toward the net, and a blocker save by Dunham. The Predators then clear with 45 seconds remaining on the Chicago power play.
I think that's not only a save. I think he was directing that puck with some force behind it with his blocker to get it to his teammate up about 20 feet ahead of him.
Here comes Amani racing to center. Feeds Marha over the line. Joseph Marha spins, dropped it back to Jamnoff across the Mironov, a one-timer. That's blocked. And Karams to Mironov, who did well to keep it in. Bugner tries the far side. It hit somebody in the corner and deflects to the line where Mironov chipped it up the boards. Marha to Daze. Gave it back to Mironov with a long one-timer. That deflected wide. And Yachmanev clears it. Or did he? He took a funny hop off the far glass, but eventually the Predators do get it the length of the ice, and their penalty is over. Both teams are at full strength. The big penalty kill turned in by Mike Dunham and the Predators. Here's McCammon centering. Olczek shot never got through. And the Predators clear it back to center ice. Sylvain Cote now looks for Dean McCammon. He was checked at center. McCabe carries on. And the Hawks get it to the line, but Nashville had gummed up the works there nicely, and puck is cleared back to the Hawk blue line.
And they can see a lot of that through the neutral zone, also dumping the puck in.
Dean McCammon needs help. Dumont to send it in there. We're down to 6 minutes now remaining in the third. The Predators own a 5-3 lead over the Blackhawks. The puck is taken by Manson in his own end. Looking for Nylander. He threw it away. And then Smolik able to recover it. Now Doug Smolik leads Bob Probert. Lost it as he got to the line, and Hawks will have to chase back to their own end.
Patrick Shelber, underrated as a player, very strong defensively, can contribute offensively, has all the skill, but on that line he is so good because he's good at getting back and getting into the play defensively and holding up his end, letting the other two guys worry about the offense.
And again, the Hawks try to get into the Nashville zone, but the rush is broken up right at the blue line, and here in the last couple of shifts, Chicago's had much difficulty getting the puck into the offensive zone, trying to carry it. Now time to start dumping it, I think.
Yeah, the wall is there, the brick wall, the Berlin wall, whatever you want to call it. The Blackhawks trying to make plays through the neutral zone. They're passing it right at the Nashville blue line into traffic.
Here's Nylander. He will dump this one in. Over to the far corner goes Probert. He turned, dropped it to the deep side, and it bounced away from everybody. Back to the Hawk line. To the far corner goes Walker. He left it there. Alec Jamnoff, he gives it away. Here's a long slap shot that's blocked in front. And a fine play by Jamnoff to tie up Fitzgerald, who was ready to shoot. Here comes Jamnoff up the left side. Gains the line. Peels off to the point, takes a look, then a long centering attempt deflects in behind. Mirnoff is in deep, but his pass is stolen, and Scott Walker for Nashville will clear it.
Perfect position to forward back with Jamnoff and not really straying away from what he has to do. Mirnoff had good puck possession. He had to throw it back a little bit firmer, and that would have kept the play alive.
Here the Predators catching the Hawks in a change in over the line. Offside. Good break for Chicago there as the kid Legwand jumped the gun. 4 minutes now remaining in the third. 5-3 Nashville. This is Blackhawk hockey.
Just under 4 minutes remaining. 2-goal lead for the Predators. They've only had 3 shots in this period, but they scored a huge goal. Scott Walker, the Blackhawks with 10 shots, have been unable to get it past Mike Dunham.
Now Sylvain Cote is deep in his own end. Fires it off the boards, and it deflects at center ice. Came back to Cote. Goes to the left side of McCammon. He steps in over the line. McCammon trying to walk in. Bugner played the body nicely. And Cliff Ronning lets it roll loose back to center. The Predators look to counter. But they'll head off for a change instead as Kjellberg wastes a little time before sending it in deep. The lead pass was intended for Nylander. He had one hand on his stick, didn't look much interested in catching it. And the Predators dump it back into the Hog zone. Now McCammon cleared it to center ice. Velicivic there. It's helped to dump it back behind the Hawk net. And again, Chicago having difficulty penetrating a stifling Nashville defense here in the last 5 or 6 minutes.
Excellent coverage right in the lanes every time there's a Predator where there's a Blackhawk.
Mirnoff got to the line. It's knocked away from him, but held in by Mirnoff. He had it stripped away as he tried to advance. Then again, the Hawks need to regroup at center. Mirnoff to Gilmore on the right side. He gave it to Jamnoff, who carries it over the line. Jamnoff to the near circle. Shoot! Got him to save, give a rebound. Predators there to jam it to the corner. And now Walker comes up with it. And dumps it in. There's Tebow off to the bench. The Hawks down 2 have pulled the goaltender with 2 minutes remaining in the third. 6 attackers on for Chicago as it's dumped into the Nashville zone. Barahowski laboring back for it. He's checked in the near corner. They jam it along the boards. McCabe unable to hold it in. Knocked away to center ice. Here's an open netter for Fitzgerald, and Nashville wins.
Tommy Fitzgerald with his second goal of the night, now 9 on the year. And Drake Barahowski does a wonderful job down low to the right of his goal with the puck. I think he was a little bit tired. He knew there was bodies coming at him. He knew he was going to get hit, but he was able to sustain the pressure, hold on to the puck, and then get a little help. At that point, you need about 3 or 4 Blackhawks, I think, with the extra man on the ice to get in there and try to help get the puck loose. Barahowski dragging the puck with his feet along the boards. A couple of Blackhawks there. It's shuffled around the boards. Walker pokes it out to Bortolo. Bortolo up the ice, and then an empty net goal for Fitzgerald. So strong work by the Predators along the boards.
And the draw taken by Daze over the line. Stick in front, shooting, and a save by Dunham. Rebound Daze, a shot. Dunham able to recover and grab that with his glove. And Mike Dunham, who gave up 2 goals on 8 shots in the first period since that time, has been superlative.
I'll turn to Monday's Chicago Sun-Times for Doug Smolik player poster, one of 24 collectible posters to appear every Monday throughout the season only in the Chicago Sun-Times. And I think you're correct, Pat. That's been the difference. The Blackhawks with a wonderful start, a 2-goal lead. They looked at Dunham, and if they could have kept it going, they may have been able to force that man to the bench, but he really turned it up and played very well. Stopped not a lot of shots, but he stopped the ones he had to keep his team in the game, and they did the rest. They got the goals. They started to pressure the Blackhawks, and a lot of the play was in the Blackhawks zone.
There's a big reaction from this excited crowd here in Nashville because on the big center ice scoreboard, they just had a fat lady singing. The Predators with a 6-3 lead and a minute to go.
Did you take up the whole board?
Yeah, it was a wide angle lens and everything. Here's Daze in over the line. The long wrist shot into the glove of Mike Dunham. And Dunham now will have suffered only one defeat in his last 6 starts. And then a little pushing and shoving after the fact. Manson agitated. And he is let out of the scrum by one of the officials.
Well, Mike Dunham going back to him because he has played well for the Predators. He had the flu, caught the flu over Christmas, as I mentioned, but previous to that, he started the great streak the Predators had. He won 1 game and tied 3. His goals against was below 1.5 during that streak, and a save percentage of almost 96. So that was the reason why they were able to get off on the right foot on their 8-game streak, and that actually tied the longest streak of the year, held by the Phoenix Coyotes. You know, previous to that streak, Pat, they had lost 7 in a row at one time in December. And that tied the longest losing streak of the year with the Atlanta Thrashers. So they went from one extreme to the next. And a good time to do it, though. They need a little bit of a rush and a flurry, and they've certainly picked it up in December. It was the best month they've ever had, the first winning month in their franchise history, December.
And they now will have a 5-point lead over the Blackhawks in the West. As the draw is cleared into the Chicago zone with half a minute remaining in this one. Here's Boris Mironov dumping it in there. Timonen fires it off the glass back the other way. And this one will be icing against Nashville with just 11 ticks remaining.
Interesting to see who Barry Trotz has on the ice. Patrick Cote has not seen a lot of ice time, was a healthy scratch for 8 games, and I think he's on the ice maybe to get something stirred up. He's stirring it up right now with Jamie Allison, and I'm sure they'll both get sent to the dressing rooms. But I was interested, and I talked to you before the game, Pat, about some of the comments Cote had in the paper today here in Nashville. As I mentioned, he was a healthy scratch for 8 games, but he mentioned the fact that he thought he should play tonight, and he said, if I can't get in the lineup tonight, I shouldn't even be here. I should be somewhere else. So he was expecting a tough game. He said every time he's played Chicago, he hasn't had any trouble getting a dancer to dance with him. But I don't necessarily agree with his comments. If you can't play during a great winning streak for a team that is doing a lot of things successfully and not worrying about fighting, I don't know why he shouldn't be back in the lineup. On this occasion, hasn't played a lot tonight, but he got his wish.
The comment I took note of from Patrick Cote today, he said something to the effect that, you know, when you're a fighter, you get out of practice if you don't play very much, and, you know, it's something that you have to keep practicing. I'd like to know who he's practicing with. Who's that poor stiff having a scrap with this guy?
That's what he said. He said the first couple are kind of tough. Need a couple to get under your belt to get right back into it.
Yeah. Is that the same Patrick Cote who in 19 games has no goals, no assists? His point total looks like a brand new speedometer. 63 penalty minutes he has and a -6. Yeah, that's the guy. Here's the face-off. This one's all over. Oh, maybe not. Now McCabe looking as if he got tangled with one of the Predator players. I guess he'll get a penalty with 0.8 of a second, and McCabe will be given a slashing call here. So we'll just need a face-off to make this one official.
Well, frustration shown by the Blackhawks, of course, coming into this situation, thinking this game was a big game and knowing that it was a team that they had to catch here as the team finally gets by the halfway point, Pat. And I think you look at the Calgary win, a solid effort all the way through, great goaltending, and a big difference here tonight. Nashville didn't look ready for the game, but they turned it on after about 5 or 7 minutes.
Well, they sure did, and Mike Dunham getting some most deserved congratulations from his mates in the third period. Scott Walker came up with one of the biggest plays of the game off a terrible turnover by Eric Daze. Walker walked in and scored, unassisted at the 6:40 mark to give the Predators a 2-goal bulge. And then in the final moments, Tom Fitzgerald got his second of the game, an empty netter from Bordelot and Walker at 18:20. The Hawks outshoot Nashville 14-5 in the third, but for the game, 36 Nashville shots and 30 Chicago shots. Pretty big win for this still young franchise, Billy. Win for the Nashville Predators. They open a 5-point gap over the Chicago Blackhawks now. Your final tonight is 6-3. We